Hi, this screencast is going to be about how to count scientific notation, how to put it into your calculator, and how to use it in chemistry. So scientific notation is taking a really big number or a really small number and making it more manageable. The definition says that these numbers are written in the form m times 10 to the n, where the factor m is a number greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. And n is a whole number that tells you how many decimal places to move. So m could be like 1.2, it could be 3.7, it could be 7.01, whatever. But it can't be 10 point something, and it will not be 0.98. You have to have a number between 1 and 10. Okay, the exponent is a whole number, and it's going to tell you how many places that you're moving to the left or the right, depending on if it's positive or negative. So in the example listed here, 0.0012 millimeters, you'd put that into scientific notation by moving the decimal place from where it's shown to in between the 1 and 2, because that would get us a number that's in our range of 1 to 10. And we'd count how many places we'd move. So we move from the first place here to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So that's 4 bumps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And because we're making the number, we're moving from a number less than 1, it would be a negative exponent. We're moving to the right. So it's to the negative 4. So the answer for that value in scientific notation is 1.2 times 10 to the negative 4th millimeters. All right, so what you do, you determine m by moving the decimal point in the original number to the left or the right, so that only the one non-zero digit remains to the left of the decimal. So a number between 1 something and less than 10. Determine n by counting how many places you have moved the decimal plate. If you've moved it to the left, n is positive. If you've moved it to the right, n is negative. Now, using your calculators when you're doing scientific notation, if you don't enter the number into the calculator correctly and you do some math, multiplying, dividing, whatever it is you need to do, you're going to get a wrong answer, but it's going to look right because it has a scientific notation answer, and you're going to feel like it's a valid answer when in fact it's not. So if you're using a Texas Instrument, TI-30X2 is an example. These are the ones with two lines of text. So this is what you would do if this were your calculator. If you wanted to type 8.4 times 10 to the negative 6 into your calculator, you're going to type in 8.4. Then this whole times 10 part is one set of keys that you're going to punch in on your calculator to make it recognize that it's the times 10 scientific notation. So like I said, 8.4, then you're going to hit second, and the EE is what I often tell my kids in school, but second x to the negative 1 or second EE, because that's telling you that it's the exponent key. So then you would type in negative 6, and then you do the math. And if you do the example here, you would type in 8.4 second EE negative 6, and then you'd hit times and 100, and you should be able to get 8.4 times 10 to the negative 4th on your calculator for an answer. Okay, so if you have a 2-line Texas Instrument, it's second EE. You should look for this 2 capitalized E's on your screen. All right, if you have a Texas Instrument with 1 line of information, the number of keys is less. You have just the capital E button here as your exponent key. So to do this math, you would hit 8.4 EE negative 6, and then if you're doing this problem, times 100, and that would get you the 8.4 times 10 to the negative 4th. You should check that on your calculator to make sure it's working and you're doing it correctly. There are other calculators. If you have a Casio, you're going to look for either these EXP down here, usually it's on the bottom row, or you might see times 10 to the, I'm not sure what that is, it's times 10 to the n or something, and that is what you'll hit instead of times 10 or anything like that. So you would type in the 8.4, the EXP button, whichever one it is on your calculator, negative 6, and then times 100 to get your 8.4 times 10 to the negative 4th. All right, so you have multiple different versions of the keystrokes depending on which calculator you have. Please make sure that you're doing the right series of information. Do not hit times on your calculator. Do not hit times 10 and do anything strange like that. Make sure you're doing the scientific notation key. Otherwise, you will probably get the answer wrong and still feel like it's right. So do be careful. Make sure that you're doing it correctly. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. Make sure you go back and try and do that math example that I gave you on those screens, and make sure that you can get the 8.4 times 10 to the -4th. Good luck.